This month on Connections, we begin our adventures around Chicagoland with a visit to one of Chicago's most popular tourist attractions, Navy Pier. As we make our way to the Loop for a visit to Chicago's farmers markets, we'll tell you about ways the CTA is working hard to keep you safe when you ride. From downtown, we'll take a bus west to one of Chicago's hot and happening neighborhoods. Our destination, the Near West Side. Next, we'll board a Green Line train heading east. East? Yes, we're going east. Knowing what direction you're headed is all about knowing how to navigate the CTA platforms. And while we ride, take note of the new experimental seating. What do you think? Finally, we're heading to the city's near southwest side, on board the CTA's new summer shuttle, on our way to our last stop, Millennium Park. No matter where you want to go around Chicagoland this summer, the CTA will get you there. Glad you've joined us. I'm Dale Rivera. Welcome to Connections, where you can learn all about using public transportation in and around Chicago. Summer is a great time to visit Chicago's lakefront, and if you do, be sure to visit Navy Pier. It's one of Chicago's most popular tourist attractions and our first stop. Suzette LeBlanc and her children are spending the day at the city's largest family attraction, Navy Pier.
There's a lot of things to do out here, and it's a lot of open space, and then it was free to get in.
The sights and sounds of Navy Pier and its great location east of downtown on the shore of Lake Michigan seem to put every visitor in a festive mood.
Well, we bought mood rings. We started that off so they can bring something back, and we haven't decided where we're going to eat yet.
From Bubba Gump Shrimp to Charlie's Ale House to McDonald's, there's something to suit everyone's taste at Navy Pier.
Navy Pier is a unique attraction because it really is geared towards families with children. And there's a lot of activities throughout the city of Chicago that families can take part in, but we are a free facility. You don't have to pay a dime to walk onto Navy Pier.
That's right. There aren't too many places around Chicagoland where you can enjoy fun for the whole family without busting the budget. Family entertainment on the Comcast stage and admission to the Smith Museum of Stained Glass Windows are free. And there are moderately priced activities as well. The IMAX Theater, sightseeing cruises, and the Chicago Children's Museum, to name a few.
Chicago Children's Museum is geared towards teaching kids fun activities, but with hands-on experience.
And there's one more summer bargain you won't want to miss.
Every Thursday night we will be featuring Free Family Night on Navy Pier, which will feature free admission into the Chicago Children's Museum from 5 to 8 p.m., as well as 2-for-1 rides on our Pier Park attractions, which include the Ferris wheel, the swing ride, the miniature golf course, and the musical carousel.
Remember, there's no such thing as too old for these amusement park rides.
The Ferris wheel is one of our largest attractions at the Pier, and it offers uncompromised views of the city of Chicago.
Navy Pier is also home to Chicago's Shakespeare Theater, a critically acclaimed production company that presents the works of the world's most distinguished playwrights. Another reason to head to Navy Pier this summer? Fireworks. They light up the lakefront skies Wednesday nights at 9:30 and Saturday nights at 10:15, Memorial Day through Labor Day. Navy Pier has been a destination for Chicagoans for nearly 90 years. It opened as a center for entertainment and shipping in 1916 with the name Municipal Pier. At the time, it was deemed the largest pier in the world at 292 feet wide and 3,000 feet long. Over the years, the pier has gone through a number of transformations.
And its history is as rich as the history of Chicago. It has served as a military training base during World War II. It was the site of the University of Chicago campus for a while. In the late 1980s, Navy Pier was taken over by the Metropolitan Pier and Exposition Authority, and they transformed it into what you see today.
Navy Pier is the most traveled destination in the state, with close to 8 million people visiting every year. About 1/3 of those visitors use public transportation to get here.
With so many visitors coming to Navy Pier and also people that work here, CTA wanted to provide the best service possible for our customers. It's such a great destination and so easy to get here from downtown.
4 bus routes serve Navy Pier 7 days a week. On weekdays, 3 additional routes serve the pier from downtown during the morning and evening rush hours.
It was easy to get out here from the CTA. It's great to come down with the family. I love it, Navy Pier.
Getting you where you need to go safely is one of the CTA's most important missions. That's why the CTA is taking a proactive stance to help ensure safe travel. The CTA is all about playing it safe. Surveillance cameras on buses help provide customers with an increased sense of security and help deter crime. On the rail system, operator call buttons on rail cars allow customers to contact the rail operator in case of emergency. But that's not all. Now operator call buttons inside rail cars have been given a boost.
The call button is right here, and this is actually a two-way communication device with the operator of the train. And it is designed for emergency use when people need to get a hold of the operator in an emergency.
The locations of the intercom button vary depending on the railcar model. By creating a recognizable blue light above the unit, customers will be able to identify their location immediately when they board a train.
In order to make sure that it's clear where these buttons are, we're installing these sleeves, and these are blue sleeves which surround the light, and they're illuminated day and night, and they will tell our customers at a glance where those are.
Blue is the color often associated with emergencies. Blue lights on police cars are one example. Changing the light fixture above the intercoms to blue enhances customer safety by making the call button easier to locate. The added level of detail could save valuable time during an emergency. Of course, in the event of an emergency, CTA employees have been trained to respond quickly.
We've trained our employees on how to react to emergency situations, be it criminal or mechanical related, and we continue to do that to provide the best service and security that we can for the ridership and for our own employees as well.
Every day, the CTA is patrolled by both uniformed and plainclothes Chicago police officers.
We meet on a daily basis sometimes with them to pinpoint areas of concern on the CTA system and to develop strategies to combat crime and to prevent crime on the system.
While the transit police are on the lookout for suspicious behavior, they are also there to handle customers' safety concerns. So if you see something unusual, let them know. With the help of everyone, the CTA is working to keep customers on trains and buses safe and secure.
The CTA has been transporting people and will continue doing it safely and securely with the partnership that we've established with the police departments and the employees and the ridership.
If you live or work downtown, chances are you've seen or maybe even shopped at the farmers market. There are 2 in the Loop each week, but you can also find them in neighborhoods across the city, and they're easy to get to on the CTA. Chicago's farmers markets are in full bloom this month, so you can take your pick from one of the 31 locations spread throughout downtown and the city's neighborhoods. Each market has its own special flavor.
Over the years, we've accommodated for the special needs of the community, and that makes many of our markets quite unique. If you look at some of the neighborhood markets, you will find that there are different bakeries that actually serve those communities, and that goes as well with the vendors.
So what can you find at farmers markets? Besides everyday plants and produce, there are lots of specialty items to sample.
Soon enough you will find morel mushrooms, and that's very hard to find. You do find that in specialty grocery stores. We have a selection of cheeses from Wisconsin and also plants and herbs that are sometimes priced differently in other grocery stores, and here you can find them in abundance.
It's really nice to be able to just get outside and just to, wander around and get some good quality products.
This year marks the 25th anniversary of the Chicago Farmers Markets. Today, more than 90 farms participate, and the markets are continuing to grow.
You'll never see vegetables like this in the grocery store. And you'll never see vegetables this fresh unless you pick it yourself.
Chicago's farmers markets have even become more than markets. They're now an integral part of Chicago's neighborhoods, a place where communities come together.
You will see that in most of our farmers markets, it's actually a gathering point for many people. I have grown to actually enjoy and love all the different neighborhoods where our farmers markets are.
If you want to check out some of the city's farmers markets for yourself, the best way to get there, of course, is on the CTA.
All our markets are accessible by bus, and many of our markets are accessible by train. The downtown markets, such as the Federal Plaza and Daly Plaza, are accessible by all the CTA train lines.
For more information on Chicago's farmers markets, visit www.cityofchicago.org/special events on the web, or call 312-744-3315. The city's farmers markets are a great way to take in the flavors of summer. And remember, the CTA can get you there.
The number 20 Madison bus will take us from the Loop west to an area of the city that's made a remarkable transformation in the last decade or so. It's where the Bulls play, Oprah Winfrey speaks, and tongues wag about some of the finest dining that the city has to offer. Our destination? Chicago's near West Side.
Located within a stone's throw of Chicago's Loop is a neighborhood on the rise. It's got everything: shopping, dining, nightlife. But those are only a few reasons to visit Chicago's near West Side.
Bob?
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to our area.
Bob Wiggs knows this area well. As the head of the West Central Association, he's been promoting it since the 1970s. Who better to show us around?
So Bob, tell me why the near West Side is such a great destination.
This is one of the finest mixed-use communities in the city, if not in the nation. We have residential, we have commercial, we have film, we have productions, and we got some of the greatest restaurants in the city of Chicago.
If you're hungry for it, you can find it along Randolph Street, just west of the Dan Ryan Expressway. Among restaurateurs, this stretch has become the place to set up shop. Speaking of food, Randolph Street isn't the only area on the near West Side to enjoy some premier cuisine.
Greektown, Greektown.
That's right. This is where you'll find Greektown. It's like its own community within a community, and a popular spot for diners from across the region and tourists alike. Just blocks from Greektown, you'll find Harpo Studios. It's where TV's Queen of Talk, Oprah Winfrey, chats it up for her daily national talk show. Long before Oprah's studio moved in, the near West Side had its share of ups and downs. On the upside, the neighborhood was a great place to live, considered quite fashionable to city dwellers in the 1800s. On the downside, it's where the infamous Haymarket riots took place, and where the Great Chicago Fire of 1871 began. Today, it's recognized with the Pillar of Fire sculpture located at the Chicago Fire Academy. In the mid-1900s, the neighborhood declined.
Many years ago, unfortunately, this part of the city was called Skid Row. It had SROs, single-room occupancy hotels, a lot of men and women out of work. The area deteriorated greatly. Then commerce and industry became involved in redeveloping it because of its location to the central city.
Harps brought a little tranquility to the area when it was most needed. The Lion and Healy Harp Factory has been on the near West Side for over a century.
People wait for our instruments worldwide. They know our quality. And I'd say we supply probably 75% of the world's market. And that's in the professional vein of the concert harps.
It takes about 6 months to craft a Lion and Healy harp, and they can be found in concert halls around the world.
New York, Chicago, San Francisco, South America, Korea, Japan. We sold a harp to the Tasmanian Symphony a few years ago, and And I always thought that was just not a real place, but I found out it was.
It's commercial industry like Lyon and Healy that give this neighborhood a unique flavor when you consider people live among it all.
This community evolved from a business base, but business didn't leave when residential started coming in. They integrated, and they worked very well together. We have a complete mix of new commercial, new residential, and rehabbed commercial buildings and rehabbed residential buildings.
You'll see one example of that along Jackson Boulevard and Ashland Avenue. In the 1970s, these blocks were designated a Chicago landmark. After taking in the neighborhood's beauty, get ready to be intellectually challenged at the Museum of Holography, the only museum in the country dedicated to the holographic art form.
Holography is all about particle physics and waves of light energy. The object becomes three-dimensional as the eye naturally sees its physical environment.
In a nutshell, it's the ability to break down 3D objects into molecular exactness. There's more than 200 3D laser-generated images on display. Chicago's Near West Side is an eclectic blend of the past, present, and future. So spend a day here and be sure to take the CTA. Here's how.
It's urban Chicago at its finest. And the proximity to the city and the service that we receive from the CTA makes this a great destination.
We're about halfway through our route, on our way to our last stop, Millennium Park. Have you ever boarded a CTA train you thought was going one way, but was really going another? If so, a lesson in platform awareness might be in order. Platforms are really easy to navigate with a little basic training.
There's one thing you must do before hopping on board a CTA train, and that's get to the right platform. Throughout the CTA system, the train platforms are color-coded and clearly labeled to help customers find their way.
Say, for instance, we're standing here at Washington and Wells, and they wanted to go to Midway Airport, all right? They would look for the signs that say Midway or the orange decal.
Always look at the last stop on the line you want to take, and that will tell you where a train is headed. For example, if you're downtown and heading to the Green Line's Ashland station, you want to get on a train labeled Harlem, as that's the last stop on the line. At stations without center platforms, it's important to note which side of the platform to be on to catch your train. If you find you're on the wrong platform, it's easy enough to fix. At many stations, you can simply cross over using a staircase to get to the right platform. Before you can actually step onto a CTA train, you can check you're on the right line and going in the right direction by looking at the train itself.
On the top of the train, we have signs telling you where that train is going to wind up, the destination of that train. For instance, the brown line goes to Kimball, and the color of the Kimball sign is brown. The orange line goes to Midway. The train sign will say Midway.
But what do you do if you're not sure which way to go? Well, customer assistants or security personnel are available to help you find your way. Every CTA station has a system map posted to help you on your journey. Once you're on the right train platform, there are other tips to keep in mind to make sure your trip is a safe one.
They should never stand near the edge of the platform. That's number one. The second thing is that they should never turn their back to the train. They should always face in the approaching direction of the train.
You may have noticed the tactile blue edging running down many of the CTA's platforms. Well, this is mainly for customers with sight disabilities, but it's also a helpful reminder for all customers to stand back from the platform's edge. If you're traveling with children, remember to always hold their hands on platforms. Also, no one should approach a train until it is stopped.
When the train actually comes to a full and complete stop, we like the passengers that are on board to alight first, and the passengers that are on the platform to give them the courtesy to clear those doors before they attempt to enter.
The CTA provides 1.5 million rides each weekday and works hard to ensure customer safety. In fact, 2003 was the CTA's safest operational year in history. So remember, the first step to traveling safely on the CTA's trains begins the moment you step onto the platform.
Where you sit and how you sit on a train might not be something you give much thought to, but the CTA does. In fact, customers may just step on a CTA rail car and notice that things look a little bit different. It's part of an experiment you can't help but notice when you're on the move.
Hop on board a CTA train and you may be in for a surprise. The CTA is trying out a new seating configuration in 2 of its rail cars. So instead of facing front and back, in the experimental cars, most of the seats face inward, toward the aisle.
And what that does is allows a wider aisle, and since the aisle is where the standing customers stand when the train is very crowded, it gives more room for standing customers and allows customers to get in and out of the car more easily.
Of course, it isn't just the new seating that customers are noticing inside these cars.
Another unique aspect to this seating arrangement are the straps that are hanging from the pole above the seat, so that standing customers always have something to grip onto to hold themselves firm, as well as these stanchions or poles.
Aisle-facing seating is used on a number of other transit systems, such as New York City, that carry a large number of passengers. On the CTA, the new seating layout adds 6 inches of room to the railcar's aisle, making it easier not only to get on and off the train, but the extra space also benefits people with strollers or luggage. Customers heading to and from the airport, like Steve Spanos, appreciate the additional room.
The seating arrangement is easier for you to put luggage in front of you, and people can walk through the aisles, so it's a lot easier.
The experimental rail cars also allow for 2 wheelchair areas per car, instead of 1, as the current layout allows. The CTA has been tracking customer feedback on the new rail cars with the help of placards inside the cars, inviting customers to share their input. Once the analysis is done, the CTA will consider whether or not the aisle-facing seating will be included when it buys new rail cars or rehabilitates others. Aisle-facing seating allows up to 10 additional customers to fit into a rail car. And while many customers are relishing the additional space, they're also enjoying the view.
Some customers also appreciate being able to sit like I am with my back towards one window and have a panoramic view out the other window at a time like this when the train isn't quite as crowded.
So if you take a ride on the experimental rail cars, let the CTA know what you think by calling 1-888-YOUR-CTA or by sending an email to ctahelp@transitchicago.com.
CTA customers can enjoy a free lift on holidays and weekends this summer. Thanks to funding from 2 community organizations and a federal grant, customers can visit popular attractions and 2 of Chicago's most vibrant communities on board the Chinatown Pilsen Shuttle.
How can you take in the Shed Aquarium, the Mexican Fine Arts Center, and the flavors of Chinatown in one day? On the CTA's Chinatown Pilsen Shuttle Bus. This specially designed summer bus route links customers traveling between the South Loop and the West Side. And the summertime shuttle is absolutely free. Yes, free. Thanks to funding from 2 community organizations and a federal grant.
It's a combination type service because it's very good for the residents who live in the communities who maybe want to explore the different communities that they're adjacent to, and gives them an opportunity to also go out and see tourist type destinations. But it's great for tourists because it's kind of designed for people who don't normally take transit.
The Chicago Chinatown Chamber of Commerce and the Pilsen Little Village Information Center asked the CTA to design a route to serve the neighborhood and nearby popular attractions. The 2 organizations even agreed to fund it, with the help of a federal grant.
I think it helps out, especially with our partnership with Pilsen, the Pilsen Little Village Center, because it brings two communities together, and our job is to really bring more tourists and bring more visitors to both of our neighborhoods, and so a lot of our people enjoy it.
Out-of-towners Ernestine Chaco and Natasha Grady took time away from their summer internships to catch some sights, and as luck would have it, the shuttle bus.
We were riding the trolley and we just kind of stumbled on it. We're college students, we didn't want to pay a lot of money, but we wanted to come to Chinatown.
The eye-catching shuttle bus makes traveling to Chinatown and Pilsen really convenient, and the shuttle is a great way to take in all that the neighborhoods have to offer.
We wanted them to know that this was something specific to our two communities, so it really helps us stand out.
For Pilsen resident Rita Garcia and her children, catching a ride on the shuttle is an easy way to explore the rest of the city.
We live in Pilsen, and we get to see the main points of Chicago. My kids haven't been to the Shuttle Court in quite a while, and as you can see, we have a big family, so it's really, and they enjoy it. You know, the ride is really nice, you know, especially even just to cool off in the summertime. It's nice to just take a nice ride.
The Chinatown Pilsen shuttle bus runs on weekends and holidays through Labor Day. You can catch the shuttle from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. So if you're searching for a convenient way to see the city's popular sights or hidden treasures this summer, consider taking advantage of the CTA's free connection to it all, the Chinatown Pilsen shuttle.
The number 4 Cottage Grove bus will take us to a spot that celebrates an event that happens only once every 1,000 years, the Millennium. And Chicago is celebrating this recent rare and historic event with Millennium Park, our last stop.
The dawning of the Millennium brought about a transformation on Chicago's lakefront with the development of Millennium Park. Over the past few years, the city of Chicago, with the help of generous donations, has been working hard to transform this area into a premier Chicago attraction.
This is just a cultural and architectural masterpiece. There's nothing like this anywhere in the world where you have this level of artistry and landscaping and cultural offerings all in one place, downtown Chicago.
Finishing touches to the sculptures and gardens make way for the grand opening in mid-July. And while Millennium Park is full of attractions for visitors to explore, some of the park's highlights include the outdoor music pavilion and pedestrian bridge, which were designed by renowned architect Frank Gehry, the ice skating rink, Millennium Fountain, the Harris Theater, and the Peristyle.
I think they'll be treated to an extraordinary experience that they won't get anywhere else in the city.
There's something for everyone, so come and check out Millennium Park for yourself. And remember, the CTA can get you there.
We'll tell you more about Millennium Park next month as we begin another adventure around Chicagoland. I'm Dale Rivera. See you next time on Connections.
For more information about the CTA or to use the RTA's trip planner, visit our website at www.transitchicago.com. Or for customer service matters, call 1-888-YOUR-CTA. For travel information, call the RTA at 836-7000 from anywhere in the Chicago area.
I've traveled everywhere in this here land. I've been everywhere, man, I've been everywhere. I leave that car behind, CTA will get me there. There's nothing I can't find, yeah, I take it everywhere. I've been to Uptown, Downtown, Chinatown, Old Town, Evanston, Pullman, O'Hare, Logan Square, Forest Park, Oak Park, Hyde Park, Lincoln Park, Soldier Field, Baker Field, Garfield, Marshall Field. I've been everywhere, man, I've been everywhere.